Welcome back to Anatomy and Physiology, Chapter 4, Tissues. This is video 15. In this video, we're going to look at tissue aging. And with this, if we increase age, so as we get older, and for most of these, this is going to be, above 40 or 50, that most of these things really are starting to be seen. So those of you watching this that are, teenagers, you really don't have to worry about a lot of these right now. But as people age, we have a decrease in cell division. So our cells don't divide as readily as they do when you're younger. We also have an increase in collagen irregularity. So as collagen is made, it doesn't get made as well. And this really has a lot of ramifications because collagen is found in so many different tissues. So one thing that we see is an increase in wrinkles in the skin. We see an increase in bone breakage. So bones are more easily broken because collagen is found in bone, and it helps with the flexibility of bones. So if bones become a little bit less flexible, they have a tendency to break more. An increase in time to heal. So if we get injured, it takes a little bit longer for the skin to heal. You might see bruising a little bit more. You see an increase in artery rigidity. So the arteries become a little bit less flexible. And that can be a problem because as blood flows, if the arteries aren't as flexible, you could have an increased risk of stroke or damage from stroke or heart attacks. And you have a decrease in flexibility of tendons and ligaments. So that's all due to collagen irregularity. You have a decrease in elasticity of tissue. And you have a decrease in something called organ reserve. And that is the ability to return to normal homeostasis. So it takes longer for that to occur. So it takes longer for your body to come back to its original conditions from a disturbance. So it takes longer for a lot of things to heal properly. So these are all different things that unfortunately you have to look forward to. So the last part of this chapter is going to deal with membranes. And we've mentioned membranes in chapter 1 when we talked about the membranes that line the different cavities. But now we're going to look at these membranes because some of them are formed from more than one type of tissue. There is one type of tissue that we talked to that said a lot about linings, and that was epithelial. So a lot of membranes are composed of epithelial tissue, but they also might have some connective tissue. So membranes are thin layers of tissue that covers a structure or lines a cavity. And we have three general categories of membranes. Mucous membranes. These are epithelial. You remember, pseudostratified usually contain goblet cells. So epithelial tissue resting on a thick layer of areolar connective tissue. Here we have the goblet cells. And examples are the stomach lining, nasal cavity. So mucous membranes also are found in other areas of the body, but these are the two that are really good examples. So the stomach has to produce mucus. in order to protect the other layers of tissue from the stomach acid that is produced. Your nasal cavity produces mucus that trap bacteria and dirt. So if you're outside and there's a lot of smoke in an area, you go in, you blow your nose, and it's brown or black in color, that's because it has trapped a lot of the dust particles and the dirt particles and the smoke particles. The second type is a serous membrane. So these are the ones that we saw in chapter 1. These are simple squamous epithelial tissue with a thin layer of areolar connective tissue. These line cavities and produce serous fluid. So examples of these: pleural lining. So the pleura, the peritoneum, we've talked about these. And our last type is called synovial. This is modified connective tissue. These line our joint cavities. So we're going to see when we talk about joints later on in the year that the joint is encapsulated by a layer of tissue, and this makes synovial fluid. So this layer of modified connective tissue, which forms a membrane around a joint, makes synovial fluid, which is used for lubrication of the joint. So it helps the joints, bones, and cartilage slide past one another. So this would be very slippery substance.